Welcome to day 30 of the A to Z of Christmas craft collaboration. I'm Helen of helenjeannedesigns and Hopefilled Journals, and I just want to welcome you to my day, November 30th, Two Turtle Doves. It has been such an honor to take part in this collaboration along with so many other crafters. I want to thank Rachel from rachandbellacrafts for organizing this event, and I've had a wonderful month of crafting along. Now, if you haven't heard, Rachel will be doing a giveaway tomorrow, December 1st, for a beautiful journal which will include crafts from this collaboration. The way you can be entered is to subscribe to all the channels of the participants in this collaboration. All of the links are listed below. Like all of the videos, the A to Z of Christmas craft videos from each participant. And if you don't mind, leave a comment under each of the A to Z of Christmas craft videos. Many of you have already done this, and we appreciate this so much. If you haven't done this yet, after this video, go ahead and do it today so that you can be entered in the drawing tomorrow. Then tune in tomorrow and watch Rachel's video, A Partridge in a Pear Tree, to see who the winner is. Now on to my craft. My prompt is two turtle doves. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me two turtle doves. The turtle dove is one of several beautiful birds associated with Christmas. Though it is mentioned in the 12 days of Christmas, its greatest historical reference is found in the Bible, specifically in the Gospel of Luke, just after the birth of Jesus. The turtle dove is a migratory bird that lives in the Middle East and Europe. So our friends in Europe actually see them. We Americans have the beautiful mourning dove, but we know of the turtle dove only through song and scripture. I decided to use all 12 of the items for my craft. This is a sample of the first half. And what I did is I made a cover, and it's like a folder, and it opens up, and I have each pullout has 3 days. On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree, the two turtle doves, and the hen. And then there's little tags that you can put in it, little gift tags to put little messages or whatever you want to do with it. You could also put things on the back, and then they go in, and then this is 4, 5, and 6. So, and then it closes with a little closure at the bottom, and it's meant to be put inside a journal. And what I'll probably do is put this on the main portion of the journal and then put the second one that we're going to create today on the next page. But what I'm using is the pictures that I'm using. I have just a small kit that I made for this collaboration. It is, I call it the 12 Days of Christmas kit. I'm going to be using pages from this kit, which is what I did for this one. These are pages that I have in the kit along with the gifts. And the one I'm going to make today, I'm using some of the pages from Rachel's kit from rachandbellacrafts, and I will link both of those kits below. As just a special for this event, I'm going to be, I will give you a coupon code if you're interested in using my kit for 40% off in my Etsy shop. And the coupon code would be 12 days 40, and it'll be good until Christmas. But you don't have to use any of these kits. You can use your own creativity. You can even draw the pictures. You can make it however you want. I'm just going to show you the basics of how I made it. So let's get started. Now, to save some time, I have cut out the pages that I'm going to be using. Here's a little list. I'll go ahead and leave it here for a few minutes while I explain. But I have 2 sheets of cardstock paper, and what I did is I printed the pattern for the cover page. I printed on both sides. It doesn't need to be the same print. So this is going to be my cover page, and this is going to be my backing page, which would be this page back here. And this one, if you want to use it outside of the journal, if you just want it as a folder, you would need to do double-sided. But if you're going to glue it into a journal, you don't need to do that. Now, these measurements are for the way I made it. You can adapt this to however you want, to whatever your journal you're making. And here I am covering the list. I'll put that back on top. So I have my paper cut, and for the pockets, these inside pockets, I cut the paper 8.5 by 5.5 inches. Let's see, right here. Got my papers here, and so it's just a little bit bigger than the covers, but they're going to be folded. Now, I said use 32-pound paper. This is actually premium paper that I have here. You don't really want to use cardstock because I actually tried it with cardstock and it just is a little bit too bulky. When it folds, it's a little bit too thick. So I don't recommend using cardstock paper. Now, I used cardstock paper for actually I didn't use cardstock paper. This is the premium paper, the same paper. You could use cardstock paper. And of course I used cardstock paper for my tags. So you would need 2 of these, 8.5 by 5.5. And then what we're going to do is we're going to score them. And I'll do that in just a minute. I went ahead and cut out my dates, 7 to 12. And I put a little bit of the Distress Oxide on the edges. That's up to you. But I went ahead and did that just to save a little time. And I cut out 2 small pieces that I'm going to use for the tabs. And I just used, I just basically cut them and then cut diagonal. I don't have a tab cutter, but if you do, it would make it a little bit easier. But that's for this tab right here to help you pull it out. And you can either sew, I did sewing, or glue them in place. I think sewing works a little bit better because it'd be hard to get glue just in that small line to give you a little bit of room for the pocket. But again, it's not everybody has a sewing machine, so it's up to you. And the tags, I have, well, I have 6 of them here. You need a total of 12. And this is just, I just used scraps of the cardstock paper, basically of what I had left over. You can do what you want, but I have a Sizzix die cutter that I have the die for the tags, and this size is approximately 1 5/8 by, it's 3 1/4. I wrote 3/14, that's not correct. It's 3 1/4 inches, and that way they can fit in the pockets. So, and decorations, you can decorate it up however you want. I really didn't add any decorations to this, but you could decorate it up quite a bit. I just added the 12 days of Christmas there. You can make 24 days maybe and use this as an advent calendar. That's another idea. It would just need to make 4 of them and then have something special for December 25th. So that's about it. And then what I have is an eyelet here to use to secure my little this is cardstock, whatever you're going to use here. On the next one, I'm going to use this one as my closure here. It just, when you close this, it gives it a place to keep everything set and in place. So we're going to get started here. I'm going to set this aside. Okay, I have my scoreboard here, and I just have this out for reference because sometimes it can get confusing when you start making a craft, trying to decide which direction you need to go. But what I need to do is, this one I placed on the left, so I need to have the 1/2 inch tab on the left side, and then this one is on the right. So I need to have this, well, you can't see it because I covered it up, but it actually folds over the back. So when we put it together, I will show that to you. One of them, I need to make sure I score on the 1/2 inch. I'm going to do it on both of them, but one of them I need to make sure I make it on where it will go on the left, and one of them on the right. So I'm going to start out with the first one, and my scoring, this is where I'll put this back here, just in case you're using the same measurements. I'm going to score at 1/2 inch, 3 inches, and 5.5 inches across the 8 inch length. So this is 8 inches long, so I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. Here's my 1/2 inch. Make sure everything's lined up. This is the tricky part, because you want to make sure that you get everything so it measures up when you fold it. You can already tell I'm going a little bit crooked. I don't know why when they make these scoreboards, they should make the measurements flush up against the edge, because that's what you use to guide it. So I'm doing it at 1/2 inch. And the next one is 3 inches. So I'm finding my number 3 here, and I'm scoring there. And the next mark is at 5.5 inches. Now the next part is 2 3/4 inches across the center, halfway down the paper. Hopefully that makes sense, but we need to go across the center so that it can be folded up. Actually, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to kind of fold it a little bit just to make sure that it's halfway. Sometimes my scoring can be a little bit off, and I just want to make sure that this is pretty accurate. So I've got that. This way I can make sure that my 2.5 inches actually does line up. It's not 2.5 inches, it's 2 3/4 inches. So my 3/4 is here, my fold is here. Now before I actually use the bone folder, I just want to make sure it lines up pretty well. So then I can take this and actually go like that. Now this one, I'm going to have this flowery section on the outside. So I want this to be on the left side, so this is actually going to fold down. And the next one is going to go down. If you would just remember, down, down, up. And then the last one is going to be up. So it's going to be like that, because when I have the tab here, it's going to pull out like that. So just remember, down, down, and then up is what I say, if that makes sense to you. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and do my creases. But if you notice here, if I were to, I need to cut this right here, because this side's going to be folded in, and this is going to be my tab that folds under the card. So I'm going to just do it up to the fold, right along the line there. Right along the fold, I should say. It's okay if you get a little bit off, because what I'm going to do is snip this corner anyway, just because when it's folded under, it makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so this one's going to be folded down over our card, and this one's just going to be folded under. And then it goes like that. This goes down under the card. And there you have that. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. Now my paper, it doesn't matter which direction it goes, but if you do have a pattern that needs to go a certain direction, you need to make sure you go, you have it to where each side is going to match up and you don't have something upside down. But since it doesn't matter, for me, I'm going to go ahead and do my 1/2, 3 inches, and 5.5 inches. And I'm going to do it with this, this pattern on the outside, so that when I fold it up, I have the stripes on top. I want it to be the opposite of what this one is. So I'm going to do my scoring, 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to do my 3 inches. And my 5.5 inches. Now I'm going to go down the center, so I'm going to do my fold again, just to make sure I go the right direction. See if I can speed this up a little bit. Turn it this way, and I'm going to do my 2 3/4 inches. There you go. So now this time I'm going to fold it up. Nope, actually I'm going to fold it up this way because I want the red side out. Make sure I'm matched up. Do my folds. Now I want to make sure that my 1/2 inch is on the right side this time. So I'm going to make my cut. And I'm going to make my folds. This one's actually going to go under. This one's going to go in. It just makes it a little bit cleaner when I sew it. So that's going to be going up like that. So we did over. Now I'm going to do over again. I say over. It makes sense to me, but it may not make sense to you. And then this one's going to be up. I fold it up, but then it tucks under. Like that. I want them to be as even as possible. So now I've got this little tab here. Let me get one of my cards. This is going to be my backing card. So my top one, I want to make sure that this is going to go here on this side. And then I want to make sure, just check it and make sure it would pull out this way, which it does. And then the second one, I want to make sure this goes around on the right side. And then I want to be able to pull it out this way. And another thing to check for is to make sure that your opening is at the top. So you don't want to turn it the wrong direction and realize you don't have a pocket. So you want the opening at the top, and you want it to where you can put one on each side. So what I'm going to also do is I'm going to go ahead and do it now is I have, nope, that's my corner trimmer. I have this, I have a 5/8 of an inch circle punch, and I'm going to make the little half circle at the top of each thing here, like that. So I'm going to do that. I'll probably just do one, and then you'll get the idea of what I'm talking about. And just if I want to make sure that I'm in the center, I can just take the ruler. So I want to go halfway across, which this is 2.5. So I want to do 1 1/4. So I can put my little mark there. That just gives me an idea of where the center is. So I can go ahead and make my half circle. And if you don't have this, you really don't have to do this, or you can use some sort of template and cut it if you want. So I've got these set up. Now what I'm going to do is I want to sew just the along the seams and close the pockets. So I'm going to go ahead and finish making my cuts, and then I'm going to sew it, and I will be right back. And one more thing while I'm sewing them on is I want to make sure that I put my tabs on. So when I sew up the sides, I'm going to go ahead and insert my tab and just sew along there. So I'm going to sew here, I'm going to sew along the centers, and I'm going to sew along the seam here. This top piece is tucked under, and so that way it'll be neat and tidy. So I will see you in a few minutes. Now, one more thing before I continue on is I want to make sure that we score our seam for the top piece before I put my scoreboard away. Now, the top opens, and I want to leave just a little, I want a seam here, and then I want to leave a second one so that there's at least a little bit of a gap just to compensate for a little bit of bulk from the pullouts so that it closes easily. So I need to make some scoring on the top of this. So I'm going to do it while I have my scoreboard out. And I'm going to score at, now this doesn't have to be exact because the cover over, you need a little space to put your closure, but it can really come down the length, whatever you want. So, but I like to use a 1/2 inch guide, so I'm going to go ahead and score at a 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to pull this out a little bit because I want about 1/4 inch, but maybe a little bit more than 1/4 inch. So I just want a small gap in between. So I'm going to give myself maybe 1/4 inch in between. So I have a little bit of space to glue this on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and fold. Make sure it's straight. And then I've got this one here to give me that extra little space to allow for the bulk. So it's going to go like that. All right, so that's going to be where I glue it down. Hopefully you can see that. See, it kind of looks like that, kind of like a little square. So I'm going to set that aside, set my scoreboard aside. And while I was away, I went ahead and did my sewing on my pockets. So I've got my pockets here, and I've got my backing card. So I got to make sure I did the right direction. So this one's going to go on the left, and this one's going to go on the right. And I have my tabs. You see I put my tabs on, and I have all my holes. So my pockets are ready. And I'm just going to make sure that my tags will fit. This is the same pattern here, but they fit, give a little bit of room. Now I'm going to keep that in because when I'm gluing on my spaces, I want to make sure that these don't bump into each other too much. And this is going to be my closure at the bottom. So I want to make sure this is above that. But I also want to make sure when I put this on, it reaches the closure, but it also covers this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to first go ahead and glue this top piece on so that I can see how much space I have. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the base here, or the cover. You want to use a pretty durable glue. Make sure that flaps over. Looks nice. Get the excess glue off. Now while that's drying, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue my pictures on. So this one's going on the left. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the 7, 8, and 9. I'm just going to use a glue stick for that. It's nice and quick. Okay, so I have all my numbers on. Now, this should be nice and dry. So I'm going to go ahead and put those on, and then I need to put this at the bottom. Make sure that this is going to close. So I put a little bit of glue underneath the bottom half just to secure this down a little bit before I put my eyelet in. I just kind of eyeballed it just to make sure, and I want to make sure that this is going to close here. So I've got the tab there, so it looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a hole for my eyelet, and I have this crocodile, and if you don't have one, I use mine quite a bit. So if you don't, there's different types of eyelet setters if you use eyelets. If you don't, you could actually just glue this and this would work just fine. I just wanted to add the closure just for a little bit of decoration and just a little bit of just a little bit more secure. I think I'm going to go right about here. So if you can see that, and then I could tuck that in there, and I've got my little closure. Okay, so now I'm going to add my pullouts, and I just want to make sure that this is going to close over them. So I'm going to actually get this one with the tag in it. I'm going to get it as close to the top, but where it can still fold. So I've got this underneath, making sure it's straight, making sure I can pull it out. Actually, I'm going to do that while it dries. Now, the other one is going to go here. I would prefer the tab not to overlap. Sometimes it might. But I think that should work. Okay, now this is the part that's kind of tricky. I want that tab to not bump the other one. Okay, I think that's good. So they're all glued on, and they can push them in, and then my closure will come down. Open it up, pull these out, and I'm going to put my little tags in. That one's the same, so I'm trying to spread them out a little bit so I don't have all the same designs in one row. Now you can use this for all kinds of things, little gifts, little notes. You could even actually put little candies in there. I've got my 6 of mine, so close it up. Close it up. That one's a little bit stiff. I'm gonna have to work on that a little bit. Close my tab. Now, normally what I would do, I'm not gonna do it right now. Remember I told you that I have this backing paper here. See how on the back I've got my tab. If you wanna cover that up, you can just add the backing paper, which is what I'm going to do. I'm just not gonna do it on the video. Save the time. And here I have both of them. So I've got my 1, 2, 6. Now this one is where they got a little close, so I just have to put that one underneath and then pull that out. Well, so there you have it. Open this one up so you can see. And there it is. The 12 Days of Christmas. I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you'll like and comment on everybody's video so that you can be entered into the drawing tomorrow. And Thanks for being a part of this collaboration with us. I hope you will go back and view the videos and craft along and spend the month of December doing some crafting. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Happy crafting and happy journaling.